I don't never keep my production schedule. Uh, Possibly the hardest working man in the coaching and speak industry, Taibu Mu'addib, right here, PCS certified goal achievement coach. After a tough weekend of football, I got to applaud all the teams that won. Take my hat off to all the coaches that had the teams prepared. A lot of teams just didn't seem prepared for their contest, and that's tough. So shout out to the coaches that got their job done, kept their players mentally locked in, and did the thing. I terrible towel smacked a couple of people before we lost our game. It wasn't a question of fight, but mental toughness is important. You have to make sure that you are mentally prepared for the game. Early drops by the Cowboys receivers, top receivers, and Pittsburgh Steelers top receivers. Those drops throw your quarterback off. And in tight playoff games where you feel pressure, Dak Prescott definitely felt pressure. Mason Rudolph definitely felt pressure. So their top receivers dropping those passes and shaking their heads and not giving them no fight. It was a tough go from the start. You can't spot a team 20 something points in the playoffs and expect to win, especially when you turn the ball over a couple of times. It's just a bad formula. Tough first half for the Cowboys and the Steelers, man, led to tough losses. Taibu Mu'addib right here in the morning. Just want you guys to know this is the Yes We Can show. Former President Obama, he coined that phrase. He rolled that phrase all the way to the election of the first African president, male or female, in the history of this country. What's notable about that is the behind the scenes reasons he was elected, but at the same time, the fact that the country is willing to accept leadership from the African people, which says a lot. When you have the minority leading the majority, God is always involved. It's always a move of God. I'm telling you right now, this is going to be an explosive show. That's why I'm late preparing it. I got the GoFundMe site up for the Guard Me gear. That's so exciting for all of those victims out there of sexual violence, myself included, and those would-be victims who are out there being stalked right now by individuals who are of the mind to commit those crimes. I want to say that again, I shout out to all the teams that won. If your team won, it's a beautiful thing for this weekend. You're preparing and getting more gear for next weekend, the divisional round. I will still watch the NFL football playoffs, even though my team is packing up and heading home. But I appreciate what the Pittsburgh Steelers gave to myself and the Dallas Cowboys gave to my babe because she's a serious Cowboys fan. So I want to let you guys know that we will get commentary. If you guys want to jump in the show, I'll send you the link. Let me know, inbox me, let me know what you think about your team's performance or overall what plays made a difference for you this NFL playoffs season. As always, let's go into it. This show is being brought to you courtesy of First Step Coaching. If you don't know what First Step Coaching is my online platform where I help you achieve your goal, right? Or overcome a great obstacle. Some of us can't start making goals until we overcome some stuff, right? Trauma, certain situations, transitional, functional. Good morning, Deanna. Appreciate you guys over there. Shout out to Chasky and his platform. That's a good brother. I met some good people over the weekend, just scrolling through TikTok. So I appreciate everybody that's joining in. We will have some commentary from my bae. She's going to be in here in a minute. I'm going to let her on to the show. She can give some commentary. But again, this show is the Yes We Can show. This show is about the invention of a security wearable. Listen to me. A security wearable I call the Guard Me gear. That's going to change the way we socialize with each other because the norm right now is in our homes, in our communities, in our schools, everywhere. The norm right now is a culture of sexual violence that has to stop. If you haven't been a victim of it, you know somebody that has. And that's terrible for a civilized society like ours. So the invent of the internet gave us the connectivity to make something like this possible. And you're yours truly, Taibu Mu'addib. I've been working, I would say, since 2016 on a solution for it. And this year, with the GoFundMe page up, we can all play a part in small donations and large donations in getting the Guard Me gear on the people that need to be wearing it today. All right, including my daughter. I have one daughter, and I want this device on her like ASAP. All right, Taibu Mu'addib, we're gonna go ahead and get some commentary from some of the folks out there that have joined the show. Shout out to TikTok, Instagram, about to go live right there. My Taibu Two Rides page. Don't forget, if you follow me on Taibu Two Rides on Instagram, you can go and click on the little play sign and the drop down that come up. You want to check out the You're a Mess videos. Them You're a Mess podcasters, bar none, are some of the best podcasting I've still yet to do. All right. So go check that history out. That's why I keep that page up as I move forward into being a full-time YouTuber and blowing up here on TikTok. But again, as a certified goal achievement coach, First Step Coaching is for you. You want to download the EFC workbook to get started wherever you can find it, or just inbox me directly. You can go to my booking page, which is calendly.com/Coach Taibu, and book your consultation. It's complimentary right now. Get that done. If you missed my King Day show in the morning, I didn't do it in the evening. I was just totally spun from cheering and screaming at the TV for my team and the losing effort. But I had a fun time cheering. And don't forget, everybody, if your team lost in the playoffs, only 14 teams made it in. Only 14 teams made it in. So that's what it is. Hey, what's going on there, young lady? How's it going?
What's up, everybody?
Yes. Shout out to all of our first responders and the people that secure our nation today. How are you doing today, Corporal Rhodes?
I'm good. I'm in my feelings about this weekend, but it is what it is.
Yeah, talk to us about that. I mean, I know for a fact that Dallas Cowboys, they had really jumped into the scene. They had a home field advantage pretty much throughout the playoffs to a certain extent. What do you think happened in the game that made it go the wrong way for the Cowboys fans?
Mm, I don't know. At this point, I really feel that it's rigged
Mm.
for
So we
us,
have,
the Eagles, and Miami to lose.
yeah.
It's like I don't know.
So we have a
It's kind of
conspiracy theorist
crazy.
today. Corporal Rhodes, shout out to MPS. She believes that it's rigged. So, well, I mean, okay, put like this. There's a lot of different moving parts, right? To rigging something like the NFL game, period, let alone a playoff game. So, what part of it makes you think it's rigged?
Because if you look at the emblem for the Super Bowl,
Okay.
it tells you the team that's going to the Super Bowl.
By
What you mean by
the emblem.
the colors
Oh, okay, the colors.
of the two teams that'll be going to the Super Bowl?
Okay, so I mean,
So I'm really thinking it's going to be the Ravens and the 49ers because it's more like a purplish, reddish, pinkish color.
the NFL has 32 teams, so legitimately
They
32
have
owners.
already made the shirts for the Super Bowl winner.
So simple yet so country. So so look, the bottom line is making t-shirts for playoffs in any sport, soccer, even high school and college games. I mean, you buy so many t-shirts to put on the players and the coaches, maybe a few more for other people, but that's not a very big expenditure. Making t-shirts and hats, that's not a very big thing. So you hope to win. So yeah, you want to have the t-shirts and hats ready, but it doesn't actually mean that they know who's going to win the game. So both
They
sides,
know.
NBA finals, both sides, they have t-shirts and stuff ready. If you didn't know that, now you know. Both sides of a game have t-shirts ready, trust me. But
They
what I
know
will
that.
but what I
They know
will
who's
say,
going to win. It's cool.
if anybody says something's rigged, it should have something to do with the referee, because there was a lot of questionable calls and no calls, holdings, penalties, fumbles. It was a lot of questionable calls, and we know human error is always going to play a factor in these sporting contests. But come on, man, let's go.
So what do you have to say about your Steelers?
So the Steelers, I said that to start the show. The coaches that had their teams prepared for the game, that team won. So shout out to the coaches. I'm not, Mike Tomlin and what his future is, and if he should come back to Pittsburgh. I'm not going into any of that. He wasn't the only coach whose team lost. But what I'm saying is, our players came out in the beginning, two fumbles right away, two back-to-back offensive drives. Those are mental mistakes. Those are mental
That was the
errors.
same as us. Hmm.
All I'm saying is, it seemed like the ship had got righted at a certain point in time, but still, you put yourself in a deep enough hole against a great team, it's going to be tough to win. And in the first half, it was tough for the Steelers. In the second half, we showed some fight. But we had dug too deep of a hole. Just stopping their team overall, and then tackling. Tackling. So no one else's game got postponed a whole day and a half except for ours, but I'm not going to go into that. But I'm just saying, the bottom line is tackling. So things that a coach can mentally prepare their players for, that was important. Last night we saw what Tampa Bay and Philadelphia, tackling was an issue for Philadelphia. So tackling is fundamental. It's something you do as a little league person, high school teammate, college. So the bottom line is, hey, at the end of the day, coaches that got their teams prepared for the game, they came out the first, second quarter, they went up on teams, and they carried it through. I don't know no game where the team that won didn't go up immediately, right? So Detroit went up, Kansas City went up. All the teams that won, they went up, and they went in the first quarter, did their thing because their coaches had them prepared. So Tomlin, without T.J. Watt, starting his third string quarterback just because he was the hot hand. I say he did the best he could, and the team showed fight all the way through the game. But we dug ourselves into a hole early in the first and second quarters, and we couldn't dig ourselves out of it in the second half. So, shout out to, Steeler Nation, TJ Watt, please play one whole healthy season all the way through. The last two seasons, my man go down, the season goes in the tank. So TJ Watt, you got to put on some weight or take a few plays, whatever it takes. We need you all the way through the season. Bottom line, Taibu Mu'addib right here. We really appreciate you. So this morning, this is the Yes We Can episode. So real quick before you go and get back to your duties, I want to ask you, do you know who Jeffrey Epstein is?
I think I've heard the name. I just
Okay, so
can't think of
let me go ahead and pull it up. If you guys don't know who Jeffrey Epstein is, very famous, very rich European that for a long time was committing legal illegal illegal sexual conduct and acts with underage young ladies. He actually had I can't say human trafficking thing going on because they pulled in younger women who didn't have much, and they had them recruiting like a Ponzi scheme, like recruiting other young women. Them so they didn't have to have hands on with recruitment of the girls, but once they were brought to the place, it was largely underage women that were coming in and performing sexual acts and massages and things of that nature. And for a while, law enforcement, because he was rich, hid these things from everybody. But when he finally went down, he went to jail, and in there it says that you can see right here, cause of death, suicide by hanging. So he took his own life. But that being said, that's who Jeffrey Epstein was, and this show is important because I finally did the Guard Me Gear GoFundMe movement. So and I got the survey up for it as well. So I'm just bringing this out right now because it's important to begin the year campaigning for funds to bring the Guard Me gear out and to put it on the people that need it the most. I've been watching, I did my research, Corporal Rose, and I watched the Netflix series special. Y'all check it out on Netflix, the Jerry Epstein Chronicles. But it's something to look into because most of the women had already been sexually assaulted or abused in some way. So that made them easy, targets for individuals who wanted to continue that situation. So it's not about victim shaming at all. It's just to say that we need to really have something out there that will really protect people from things like women and children, protect them from these types of crimes, because down the line, it turns into crimes that we commit ourselves. But what do you have to say now? You know who Jeffrey Epstein is. What would you do yourself if you were confronted by someone in that similar situation?
As the female,
Well, as like a friend or supporter, most of these girls were saying that, so someone led them to the Epstein mansion, right? So if someone approached you and you were like 16 or 17, and you didn't have much money and stuff like that, and you were already physically sexually active, would you have gone to the mansion? Would you have wanted to give them a massage? And when you were presented with opportunities to keep doing certain stuff for money, would you have, what I'm saying? How would you have handle that situation yourself if you have been in those shows?
well, I was in the church a lot, so I don't see me doing something like that.
Okay.
Going with somebody to, go to a mansion or whatever. That's no.
Okay.
Maybe in my 20s when I was older, yeah, but not at that young age. No.
Well, and it was said, to make. I mean, there was money involved, also, right? So there was money involved as well. So that's definitely something. And so I guess overall, there's the main point I want people to realize: when you do your own research and look into it, from sexual to domestic violence, most of these things happen by intimate partner or somebody the person knows. And it continues by the same person. It continues. What that means is a girl might get hit by her boyfriend, break up with him, get back with him, get hit again. Or a young lady might get sexually assaulted in her home by a boyfriend of a stepmom or whatever, whatnot, and he find a way to continue that same situation, even maybe even from outside the home. It's just a continued pattern. The issue is how long Epstein was able to operate before it even came to light, for one, and then two, after it came to light, right? So it's like identifying these individuals and then having clear cut evidence against them to bring them to quote unquote justice is important. And so that's why I have this Yes We Can episode today, to let folks know more about the Guard Me gear, what we're intending to do with it, why we're raising money for it now, and how it will impact and change the statistics themselves. Because right now, you guys can go online and see there's a ton of wearables, personal security wearables out there right now, from stuff as basic as what, pepper spray. You've seen this, officer. You've seen this, couple rows. Do you wear pepper spray when you're doing security?
Yes.
Okay. So pepper spray, something basic like that, all the way to, let's say an alarm button or something like that, right? That screams or something like that, makes some kind of noise when you press it. Buttons that alert family and friends or things of that nature, or start your car alarm going. Sound schemes. So there's different types of apps out there, a lot of different stuff going on. Life 360, there's different types of devices out there. But for all this, taking self-defense classes, for all this, the numbers haven't been affected. Did you know that, Corporal Rhodes?
No.
For all of the devices out there, every what did it say? Every so many seconds, every 26 seconds, an American is sexually or goes to experience sexual violence, and every 9 minutes, one of them victims are a child. Hey, what's going on over there with you? Good to see you guys over Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. How's everybody doing? This is the Yes We Can episode, and I am all right. Go ahead, shoot me an inbox. We'll talk about it. I appreciate that over there on Instagram. Okay, so yeah. So at the end of the day, we want to make sure that we can do that for real. All right. Want to make sure that we get that together. So I appreciate you for coming on. Do your research, Corporal Rose. Know what's going on. It's not just women and children that need protecting. Young men in college, young men in homes, young men in churches. It's a lot of sexual violence going on in our community, and this is an opportunity for us all to come together and join in. No matter how much you donate, wherever you see the GoFundMe site page up, put your donation in. Every little bit matters. Even you, Corporal Rhodes, all right? That
Thanks
cool?
for having me.
Hey, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And we will see your Cowboys out there next year again, fresh and ready to go.
Yeah, doing the same thing. Go to the playoffs, and you know how we do.
Nah. They have a bright future. They have a bright future. I'm gonna tell y'all one thing right now. I just think the Cowboys need to get Jimmy Johnson back in their locker room somehow before these playoff games, because he was fired up at halftime, boy. Shoot, y'all get Jimmy to give out a pregame speech. Y'all gonna win some playoff games. Shout out to Jimmy Johnson and his induction into the Ring of Fame there at AT&T Stadium, and all the Cowboys fans worldwide. We will talk to you later.
Bye. Have a good day.
That was Corporal Rose, everybody. Shout out to NPS and all of our security and first responders across the country. Taibu Mu'addib right here, man, trying to make sure that you guys understand this is what it takes to build a movement, a successful movement. I've been podcast for over 2.5 years now, going on my 3rd year, and I want to make sure that everybody knows the reality. We had some folks over here. We had some folks over here on Instagram responding to Corporal Rhodes' comments about the Dallas Cowboys and what went wrong. But that's all right though. We'll get more commentary as we go along. We appreciate you guys on TikTok for joining us this morning. So the Yes We Can show. So let's go for one moment, if we can, to look at, and we're just going to go look at the links that we have in here for the GoFundMe page. When you see this post, no matter what social site you see it on, make sure that you, as they say, tap in. You just don't want to go without that opportunity. All right. So we're going to put this thing together. We're going to get this thing right. I don't know how we're going to get this thing done. What is that all about? So I'm sharing this. I'm sharing. What tab am I sharing? Oops. Stop that sharing. All right. What I want to do is, I thought that, no, this must be okay. So it's the Instagram joint. So it's not going to give it to me. On different devices, I got different stuff going on. I want to make sure that I do it the right way. When I screen share something, I want it to pop right in. See where that goes. All right. Putting things into perspective. Got to get these. Okay. All right. There we go. Just want to make sure I get this going. All right. So I'm gonna screen share what it looks like when you see it. We're gonna get a chance to look at it. For the most part, I want you guys to check me out and see what I got brewing. It's difficult. It is not easy at all, let me tell you, to do so many things at one time. But if you stay organized and you stay on your grind, you can get a lot of things done. So this right here is the GoFundMe page I have set up. The goal is 150,000, and really for something this big, that's just a legitimate start. That's just a little. We don't really need Silicon Valley for this, but what we do need is real data. And then a breakdown to what the goal is. But the goal is to get the device on people and test it, and we can do that with $150,000. So I want to make sure that you guys are donating it and sharing it and doing the right thing with it. This is the yes we can moment. All right. And if you want to see the full video, make sure that you go to Taibu Mu'addib 4019 over on YouTube and get that done. All right. But I'm telling you right now that without question, this is the biggest deal right here that we have, is making sure that you guys understand, yes, we can get this done, and we will get this done by coming together to make sure that everybody gets a chance to donate and be a part of history. So many people already have been affected by domestic violence and by sexual violence. And what I mean to say by that is a lot of people have already dealt with it, and so they've resigned their life to dealing with it their whole life. And it affects the way that they move in the community. All right. And so what I mean by that is to donate. So what I mean by that is they've already resigned themselves that this is what the life's going to be like. And there's not going to be any change in it. Right. And so they go about hiding from people. It's tough for them to have relationships. I know that I myself personally, I went through that for a long time. It was difficult to get and maintain a committed relationship. So, with that being said, a lot of folks, out there, they've just resigned themselves to just dealing with it like that. Like they feel like that's all it's going to be. So they kind of insulate themselves, in a situation, and so that's pretty much what it comes down to. And what I'll say moving forward and letting that go is we need people who will champion this opportunity to put an end to that for real, an end to just the nonchalance about it happening in our communities. It just shouldn't be happening. It just shouldn't be happening. That's the bottom line. So I put that out there on my social media platform, Taibu to Rise. I want to get over there to Coach Taibu. We have the couples page as well for it to go out to. But again, I will make sure that I'm continuing to promote this every day. You'll see it until we reach our goal. Have to do that for y'all. I have to do that for y'all. A part of my personal story is on it, and so I'm letting folks know that when you're a victim of it at a very young age, it's highly likely that you'll do it yourself and become a perpetrator yourself as an adult in some way, fashion, or form, right? Because hurt people. And so we have less people being hurt at young ages. We'll have less people hurting people when they're adults. Does that make sense? Let's go ahead and stop that share. And so we go back to the guy, Jeffrey Epstein. I want you guys to understand what's important about the Jeffrey Epstein situation is that the power and influence and wealth, it's a very seductive thing, right? To where that you can get away with stuff. And so, it usually involves other people, whether you're scamming people, crimes of confidence, whatever, but especially sexual violence. It damages folks for lives, communities for lifetime, excuse me. So let me go ahead one more time and share just the information about this guy. If you didn't know, like Corporal Rose, if you didn't know about Jeffrey Epstein, I'm telling you right now, a case like this is only sensational just in the fact that, like I said, it was under wraps for so long, and then when it came to light, it still continued. And we don't want that to happen. We don't want things to continue just because folks don't know about it, but then people are being hurt. All right. So let's look at this real quick. Jeffrey Edward Epstein, right? And he pretty much conned his way through life, you know, just being European and willing to speak out about things, right? And being quick on his feet. But people want to hear from them. You look at the millions that he was involved in, just millions and billions of dollars, right? The redemption of this investment would have been the equivalent to removing $1 billion from a thinly traded CDO market. So, he was involved already with a lot of money, startups and stuff. He was doing his thing. By the time that Bear Stearns fund began to fail, Epstein had begun to negotiate a plea deal concerning imminent charges for sex with minors. So, he was involved with a lot of money. You watch that Netflix special and you'll see. But initially, there was a 14-year-old girl that said she was allegedly paid $300 to strip and massage Epstein, and then she had a sexual encounter with him herself. So, you look at just that from the outset, how bogus he was and what he was doing with his money and his power and influence, right? It says in 2008, he pleaded guilty to a state charge of procuring for prosecution below 18, was sentenced 18 months in prison. Epstein was instead housed in a private wing of a Palm Beach County stockade, and after 3.5 months was allowed to leave on work release. So he did a crime. He did a very nice 3.5 months in a really nice, I guess, lock facility. Then he was allowed to go back home on work release. So he basically didn't serve any time. His cell door was left unlocked. He had access to the attorney room where a TV had been installed. Yeah. Paying off the sheriff's department. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Had an immunity deal. So some civil cases filed against him. Just a lot of stuff going on with their brother before he took his own life. I'm telling you, they said about 40 young ladies. That's 40 women, 40 lives touched, tainted, manipulated by this man and his power. So being European, having tons and tons of money, turns you into the kind of individual where you can kind of do what you want with society's not watched and society's we call them kind of refuse, kind of like the throwaway kids, right? Kids that were runaways, kids that were on the fringe, at risk, youth. That became his go-to. It's interesting, right? It's interesting because you look at the situation, and if you look at the statistics out there, only 25, it says, out of 1,000 violent sexual offenders are ever incarcerated, or brought to justice. Guard Me gear directly addresses two things. Let's talk about it. All right. I started asking myself, what what's really going on? Why aren't is nothing working? Why aren't we really taking a taking the time out to, there was a war on drugs. You know what I'm saying? Like, why aren't we going to war against sexual violence? See how damaging it is to the human psyche, to a lifelong situation and process of normalizing your life and getting back to center. Why aren't we taking a war against violent sexual offenders? Uh, you had the crack laws, but we don't have the mandatory death sentence. Like Trump was saying, for the New York Central Park Five, whatever, case. But we don't have just mandatory capital punishment for sex offenders. Why not? Why, as a country, are we not cracking down on this? Why are we not taking this seriously? How can that not be a serious offense? None of us, you don't want your mom, sister, or daughter, raped violently, no matter who did it, right? No matter how powerful they are. So why as a country, aren't we taking this seriously and we're not cracking down on it? And one could say, Taibu Mu'addib, it's because the problem is too big. And I would say too big. What do you mean too big, right? I mean, what could you ever mean too big? And I think what happens is that, you look at all the devices out there that are on the market right now. Like I was talking to Corporal Rose about earlier, and you say, what are we discussing? So let's look at some of these devices. And okay, so the government can say, the private companies have stuff out there. It's up to the people to protect themselves, right? So you look at all these different devices on the market, and more coming every day. And currently, security wearables is a $55 billion private industry. 55 billion is being poured into research and development of security tech wearables because the demand is so great, the need is so high. But for some reason, the statistics aren't dropping. The statistics aren't dropping. You have so many individuals going through so much, and you look up and you do the research. So many individuals are being taken advantage of. It's like, okay, what do we do? What can we put out there? So we look on. So I'm just gonna pull them up real quick. So it says 1 out of every 6 American women has been the victim of an attempted or completed rape in her lifetime. 1 out of 6. Are you kidding me? Not 1 out of 50, 1 out of 6. So if there's 6 women around you right now at your office space, or you see in the grocery store, 1 out of 6 of them in her lifetime has or will be the victim of an attempted or completed rape. Get more specific. Let's look at it. It says every 68 seconds, an American is sexually assaulted. Every 68 seconds. This is a half an hour show. I'll go 45 minutes sometimes on the long end, probably like today, because it's an important show. So you literally one person per minute. And these devices, is it the price we're looking at? The Pavlok costs $200. Ringcon, heart rate, IO wearable. You're wearing them for different things. Obviously, you can wear them for fitness and things, but I mean, let's look at it. Let me try to put something more specific in here. Let's see if we can. All right, personal security tech wearables. Right. So here's what you have: personal safety alarms, home life saving thing, wearable glove, wearable panic button. It's a lot of stuff out there. You go through Wired, a lot of stuff out there. You have Invisaware. It's a lot of stuff out there. Okay. Let's look at that. Invisaware is what's called smart jewelry, right? Invisaware smart jewelry. So personalized safety alarms. And these things, if you look at the I'm gonna stop sharing on that one. Okay. And go to something else. We'll try that again. Want to see it again. Invisaware smart jewelry. Just want to get you guys acquainted with some of the stuff that's out there because it's not working. Invisaware, and we'll do the quick research. But when I say it's not working, people are buying stuff, but it might not be making a dent. Invisaware smart jewelry. First year of Invisaware smart jewelry. Let me see. Let's see when was it founded? Who founded it? When did it hit the market? I want to see how long it's been out. Oh, okay. The company was founded in 2018. The first year smart jewelry was 2018. The product was officially launched. The device communicates with your phone and Bluetooth and lower energy, all this stuff. All right. So this is why Guard Me gear is so important, because I'm not just trying to sell you something. And they have like the personal safety bracelet for 150, ultra lithium titanium waterproof smart thing for 400. So I mean, we're spending a lot more for the cell phones than we are for a personal wearable, but that might be why it's not effective. It's not effective. But to sell you something that makes you want to buy it because it's supposed to help, I don't know. It's supposed to help. I'm gonna break this down in a minute, but it came out in 2018. So let me just go real quick and look at I'm gonna come over here to my other little and go by the hour since 2018. I want to know if it's making a difference. Because if it made a difference, we will all go get it, right? So the scopes. Let's see. I'm just looking at it. U.S. reported forcible rape cases. All right. So, accept all. So, in 2018, which when Invisaware came down, the number of reported rape cases, it started dropping. It went back up in 2020. So it's gone up. It's super high, around 150,000 cases. All right. This figure also includes attempts and assaults, but unforced statutory rape are excluded. So we're missing some, but still. So right around 2018, when Invisaware came out, the number dipped down, it went back, it dipped down, but it never fell below the hundreds and 30 and 40,000 number for one, and for two, a lot of stuff saying right here, a lot of stuff has been left out with the statistics being what they are. So I'm not seeing a sustained significant decrease. And that's exactly why we have this movement for the Guard Me gear. But let me be clear. the reason that these devices like Invisaware and things of that nature, the reason why these invite devices aren't really a cure for sexual violence, and so they're not, can't address this because there's no connectivity, right? When you press this thing, what happens to stop what's happening, right? And because it's invisible, then a would-be attacker is not afraid of anything. So the concept is okay at initially that you have, invisible, jewelry that you can press and, somehow alert someone. But you have to worry about a lot of different factors, right? And that be that, many of the rapes and sexual assaults aren't reported. Why? Because many of the victims feel it's their fault. So even after it happens and the victim says to himself, okay, it's not my fault, they don't want to fight it out for people to even know it happened, because it might not work. If 100% of rape cases brought to court all got convicted, maybe it'd be different. Maybe more victims would be like, hey, yeah, I got to get this done no matter how it does. I know the person's going to go to jail. So, but that it's not how it is. I know someone personally that has a child by someone that raped them and chose not to tell. And it's literally trying to raise this child with this individual as if it's a normal situation. So this is how deep it goes. Yes, that person was raped underage. So what does a 14, 15, and 16-year-old young lady who's raped and has a baby, how can they process that? What's right and wrong? I don't want to put my baby daddy to jail, even though he's a rapist. And not just a rapist, but he raped me when I was underage. You see what I'm saying? So it's just a lot. It's a whole lot, excuse me, to consider. Guard me gear, the difference for the guard me gear phenomenon movement is that we're gonna incentivize citizens to do what they should do anyway, right? Which is be a good citizen. So we're going to incentivize people being good neighbors. All right. And you can look at the YouTube mock-up. That's actually on the GoFundMe page. There's a link to the YouTube mock-up. That's how it starts and gives you a preview. And also there's a GoFundMe. There's a survey that I want you to fill out so we can get all the information we can so we can get this thing going. Last year, had I done this last year, we would probably already be to the ribbon cutting and getting it out to you guys. I apologize. I'm a life coach. I'm building a business, have responsibilities. I apologize. I had a 4-man team. One of the guys unexpectedly passed away. He was our law enforcement component. Passed away unexpectedly during a jog. It happens. One of the other members, his fiance passed away unexpectedly. So the challenges are great, right? But because this is the right thing to do, and people are legitimately getting money and not even solving the issue. The issue is proximity and time. That's what Invisaware doesn't address. Proximity and time. What are you saying, Taibu? A perpetrator's proximity to a would-be victim, right? How do they come in contact with them? Teacher, student, pastor, parishioner, mother's boyfriend and daughter. How does this person come into contact with them? Proximity, right? Supervisor, employee. How does the person come in contact with someone they want to sexually assault? So proximity. Invisaware doesn't have any, it doesn't address that. It doesn't keep the proximity situation in check. Guard Me Gear will do that. Then time. It takes time for the act to occur. What do you mean, Taibu? So Me, I'm dressed in a suit and tie. I'm a supervisor at my job, whatever. So how do I get this employee alone, whether it's my office or a break room, whatever? How do I get this employee alone and then get it popping? So sexual assault doesn't have to be physical intercourse. It could be the squeezing, grabbing, touching. It takes time for these things to occur. While it's occurring, what's happening? So guard me gear has to address that because there's time to do what? Collect evidence against this individual. All right. And then you have to have time for what? For a person that actually does commit a forcible act and there is penetration, it takes time for them to commit the act and then get away because these types of individuals don't want to be caught because they want to continue to do it. To the example I used earlier, this young person that had a child by this guy, in her mind, it's like, I don't want to send this person to jail because I have a child by them now. But because they were a teen, they're not thinking that this guy, while he's playing, maybe even playing good dad to my child, might be raping more other young teens. So me keeping my mouth closed is allowing, and this is what guard me gear is going to nip in the bud. They won't be able to continue it. Domestic violence, Taibu. How will the guard me gear stop domestic violence? Because most of these individuals, women and men, are getting beat and abused by the same person over and over and over again. I mean, there's documentaries on every streaming service right now of men and women both who were stalked and beaten and abused, and the police didn't do anything. So the law has to have in effect, evidence. Judiciary proceedings go off of evidence, even if it's procured. Even like in my situation when they made it up or it was false, there still has to be a legal proceedings based on evidence. So the guard me gear helps would-be victims to address their situations and nip it in the bud right then and there with evidence. No, getting punched in the face one time doesn't go away overnight. It's a traumatic experience that's going to last for a while. But getting punched in the face twice, once, two, three times a week, every time they come home, that or gets out of jail, that definitely will break a person down. You got substance abuse and suicide. How do you break free of it? Or like in some cases, you kill that person and now you're in jail. And you relive that trauma over and over again every day. So guard me gear is going to take care of a lot of these things can happen. Okay. All right. Yeah. Let me see if I can. Can't seem to get this. Let's see. I wonder, Dakara, I wonder if you want to join the live and say that. That's an important point to bring up. If you guys want to join the live, go ahead and press the button, even if you can't be on video camera. You guys speak your piece, ladies. This is for you. I'm telling you, I was slack. I'm gonna keep it real. The fact that as a very, very young person, I was a victim of sexual violence and domestic violence and all that stuff, and became a perpetrator of it. It's taken almost my whole life for me to get in a relationship that would last. Like I'm in the longest relationship I've ever been in my life, but it took that long for me to normalize myself to where we can make that thing happen. So it's important. If you want to join, you're welcome to. I apologize for missing it. Where I can invite you guys, but you guys are welcome to click to join. If you want to join the conversation, go ahead and do it. It's not coming up. If you send a request to join and I didn't get it, that means you don't have enough people. Oh, you definitely have enough. Let me look for it. I apologize. Well, then take it off and send it again because I missed it. I apologize. I really apologize. I definitely want to get you guys' information in there. Yeah, you definitely have enough. I apologize. If you resend it and send it again, I'll definitely put it on there. So we're gonna hopefully get a woman's voice on this. Okay, yeah, I see it. Boop, there it is. I'm sorry. I'm so new at using this. Welcome and good morning, ma'am, to the Morning with Mu'addib show. How are you doing today?
I am well, thank you. Good morning. How are you?
All right, Taibu Mu'addib. This is my morning show. This is the Yes We Can version of my morning show because I just put up today a GoFundMe movement account for people to donate into the inception of the Guard Me gear. The gear, the word gear for our company stands giving everyone a response. So we intend to give coverage to the average individual, no matter who they are, where they are, based on our security wearables. That makes sense? Yep. And so literally right now, we're live right now on TikTok as this momentous situation. I'm just breaking down the differences of why the stuff out there right now isn't working and comparing it to why the Guard Me gear will work and deserves your donation. But go ahead, speak about your experience. We're all ears.
What experience exactly are you speaking of? Because the only reason I said something was because um, you had said if it happened one time, it may not be traumatic, but that's not true. If it happened one time, and if it happens to a certain type of minded individual where trauma had already been exposed, then they will be suffering with traumatic experiences as well from that because it's already there. For instance, I always tell people for every existence, there's a pre-existence, right? So it's something there that's already like lit. It's just waiting to be lit and put in place. And so, for instance, like my ex-husband was abusive. And if you do the history, then you find out that my mother was also abusive towards me. And then sexually, I had been assaulted by others as well. And so the trauma that is there is all aligned with my past. So although he was the last one to do things, it was because of all the things I had previously been through. They just put that one in probably the worst predicament ever. Like made it just look like it was the worst thing when it probably wasn't, and it wasn't the worst thing, but it felt like it was because of all of the other things I had previously been through.
And so to clear up what you heard or how I came across, what I was saying is that if a person gets punched in the face one time, I said it might not go away within a few days or a few weeks, but it won't be as bad as if that same person gets punched in the face once or two or three times that same week, and it continues and continues and continues. You know what I'm saying? That's what I was basically saying is like if we can't stop. Sometimes we can't stop that first occurrence because we believe in the goodness of folks. We bring them into our homes, into our lives. We date them. If I get haul off and get slapped by my girlfriend, you know what I'm saying? I couldn't stop that. She would treat me good. She would smile at me. We had good love, whatever the case may be. If she gets upset one day and just smacks me, there was no stopping that. But if I don't set a healthy boundary, move away from that situation, accept that it's not okay, and move on with my life, then that opens the door for her to continue to smack me, belittle me, emasculate me, whatever the case may be. And that will be more traumatizing than that first slap was. I won't forget that first slap, but if I allow myself or her to have access to me, that's going to be worse. And I'm speaking from experience because, like I said, when I first started this podcast, as a childhood victim of sexual and domestic violence, myself, to grow into a big, strong man that became an abuser, I understand hitting someone, trying to hide it, or having them try to hide it. Police coming to the door, don't answer it. You know what I'm saying? I understand that whole game. So what it took for me to get my treatment and to try to normalize my life and then want to champion this issue, it's like, okay, we have to address the things that aren't being addressed by stuff like Invisaware, right? Stuff that is benign. It's just on you. Even if you press it, what's it going to do? You know what I'm saying? A person can drop that thing and remove you from the area. You know, how is it going to work? You see what I'm saying? And so people are making money off of the need without changing the situation. Does that make sense? So I'm not downing Invisaware or pepper spray. I'm not downing these things. You know, have something on you until we get Guard Me gear out there, something on you. But the bottom line is we just are not changing. We're not moving the needle, right? And that's what I'm discussing this morning. But I'm glad you said what you said, because that's exactly why the Guard Me gear is necessary. Because if you have been in a marriage where your husband was abusive, I can only imagine that it happened more than once. Okay. So after that first time, there may have been some confusion involved. But the first time to the second time, you may have had a lot of things to consider: the kids, the marriage, the marital vows, a lot of stuff, right? And like you said, your own experiences before that even went on, right? So, but now with the Guard Me gear on, the protection for you, once it's out there, the protection is proximity. Because once you go and buy it, you love them, but but you've been protected. So you're dating them. Oh, you have Guard Me gear. What's that? How you say your name? Dakar. What's that? Dakar. Well, I got this Guard Me gear device when I got back into dating, because I've been through some violence as a kid, and just protect myself now. So this Guard Me gear device, it makes sure that I'm never alone. It makes sure, like your name says, it makes sure that I have that I'm always surrounded by individuals who will come and check on me when I use this and activate it. Oh, you don't say. You know what I'm saying? So now, dude, if he really is the kind of guy that beats on women, it makes you not dateable for him, because he doesn't want to get caught. He wants to beat on women, but doesn't want to get caught. You see what I'm saying? So just by you explaining to him the wearable that you have on him is with, now if he wants to roll the dice and gets jiggy, because clearly you said, hey, I want to be the man that's safe and protects and provides. If he goes outside of that and you press it, there's no going to court or talking to the prosecutor, the police, like, oh, she's lying. It didn't happen like that. She pushed me. None of that's happening, because the Guard Me gear, once activated, collects evidence immediately. Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense. Can I ask a question now?
Sure.
And it's not to do anything, but just to ask a question.
Yeah, no.
What about those individuals who, and I said this, that groom their individuals into this, where they try to change the mindset of the way that the person thinks, so that they don't need this garment, they don't need this protection, because they knew in their current protector. For instance, my ex-husband, I'll just use him. My ex-husband knew that I come from a big family. You know, he knew that my brothers were just a call away. That was nothing to him. He understood that. But he and I had also been together since we were 13. We've been knowing each other since we were 13 years of age. And so there was a period in our relationship where we were just comfortable with each other, with one another, right? And once we became married, before even becoming married, there was a grooming period that no one even noticed was happening. No one noticed that this was going on, because the way that I thought, and it was funny, my brothers would say, you let a man hit you, because that was never me. But it was this part, and I'll never forget. He would always say, if you love me, you won't hurt me, you won't tell me. And that was installed in me for so long throughout our relationship. And then finally, boom, Super Bowl Sunday, I'm demolished, and I have no clue why, because I helped the homeless man. That's really why the fight occurred. And so at that time, even then, it was said, don't forget, you love me, and you this and you that. He went to jail, yeah, and he did all those things, but I still took him back. I still forgave him. There is a grooming period in these moments that the woman sometimes, because, and it wasn't the kids. I had a child. We had two at this time. It wasn't necessarily the children. It was more so of the grooming that kept this relationship going. The strength had to be rebuilt. And so I can have this garment, but what else is put in place to make sure to keep us as women from being in these vulnerable situations from jump?
So it sounds to me like there was some codependency going on. And this is just me putting on my life coach hat. As a certified life coach, I help people with transitional needs, like what you may have needed if I had been out there coaching when you were going through your situation. So a transitional need is an obstacle, right? It's an obstacle. I love this person, but they hurt me. What do I do? So I would help you put together a winning strategy to deal with that. And the first thing I would say is two things. Number one, low emotional intelligence, right? And that's not a put down or victim shaming. It just is what it is. If the person thinks after they feel, I feel, so I think, that means you have low emotional intelligence. We're all supposed to think and then feel. What I think about what's happening around me caused me to feel this. So if you're not at that point, then that needs to be addressed. Also, codependency. What does that even look like? I pulled it up real quick while you were talking. It says you might take on excessive household responsibilities, fail to stand up for yourself, or end other friendships just to maintain your partner's approval. That's what codependency looks like. And so you described all of that in what you were saying. So there's other stuff, obviously, that therapeutically need to be addressed. But the main issue is disrespect, right? The main issue is physical safety. The main issue is survival, right? So just like we can't, well, most of us can't in the normal situations gnaw a finger off. If I get a paper cut, I'm not going to gnaw my whole finger off to avoid the pain. You see what I'm saying? So most of us can't really injure ourselves. So it takes a certain type of situation to allow someone else to hurt us. Now, I want to say to you that for any woman that's watching this podcast, I'm gonna tell you something right now. If a guy, he could be Terry Cruz's size, is dating a woman that looks like Lucy Liu, and I'm not saying all Asians know karate, but I'm just saying, if a guy was dating a woman that wasn't Asian, that was just small, slight, 135 pounds, maybe, whatever, whatnot, petite, cute, whatever, but she knew, some serious form of martial arts. I don't care what culture she is. And so the guy just, he's like, gets home. Why isn't my dinner ready? She said, hold on, baby. I was a little bit busy when I got home. I'm gonna get started in a minute. And he says, BS, and next thing he know, he looking up at her from the floor, and she's standing over him. And he like, what just happened? And she said, I leg swept you. Do you think he's gonna stay in that relationship? Do you think because he don't want to keep calling her a bitch? He's not gonna stay in that relationship. Ladies, if the shoes on the other foot and the female could beat him down, he would not stay. Y'all stay and he wouldn't stay. So the same person that's putting their hands on you wouldn't stand for it themselves. Trust and believe what I'm saying. So that's the short therapy I would give to any woman that's in this situation right now. As far as the love word, that love word can be a balm for a lot of nonsense, and it can be a marionette string, right? I love you. Let me play with your life. I love you. Let me play with your physical health. You know what I'm saying? Let's be real about that. So that love word, ladies, let's talk about what the I guess from a biblical sense. What's the Bible or the Quran say about love? What does any book say about love? You know what I'm saying? Love is the antithesis to physical harm. The bottom line is that, unless it's to protect you, if I put you in a headlock, ladies, it's because you had a gun to your head. I'm trying to get away from you. You know what I'm saying? Other than that, it should never be a situation where I'm using that the physical nature and dominance to keep you, quote unquote, in your place. But to your point about the guard me gear, what the one of the key components of the guard me gear is that the users have to sign the rights for our company to turn the information over to the police if you don't, because the authorities are still the final say. We have law and order in this country for a reason, right? Would you agree with that? So you can't not charge him. And once we turn the stuff over, if you won't, and we will, you give us permission to do that. Once we do it, there is no need for the accuser at that point. Now the company becomes the accuser. We have legally documented evidence, and we have permission by you to use it to prosecute an attacker or a perpetrator of a said crime. So really, now you're a non-factor. You can't write a letter to say, I forgive him, he didn't do it. You know what I'm saying? No more of that recanting and rescinding stuff. So he just stays in jail. And hopefully we'll be able to be successful enough with this movement that people like you will support us in getting that person treatment, because there is treatment for certain stuff like that. Men that abuse women have a certain belief system. I used to have it, and it can be worked out if he wants to. So, you know, I had a treatment class in prison. It really helped me to see that I had to work on myself. And by working on myself and putting a lot more effort into working on myself, I understood things. I have a healthier relationship with keeping healthy boundaries with women that I date. And so I think it's made me more successful and less dangerous to women. So I'm saying at the end of the day, keeping them inside is important because they can't hurt you or any other woman. Right? That for one, let's nip that in the bud. And then while they're in there, if you really love that person and you're concerned taking them back, just encourage them to get that support while they're in there and get that treatment while they're in there. Does that make sense?
It does. And let me say this real quick. I am a therapist, and so to throw out a word codependency to me was like horrible, because it had nothing to do with codependency. It goes back once again to being traumatized already. And so that you got to remember, a lot of things with people becomes their norm. So as to one person is abnormal, to another person it may be normal. So I gave you the history prior to. My mother was abusive. I had already been abused sexually throughout my life. And so being with this individual is uneasy for me to notice the grooming, because it looks so familiar. It is a familiar atmosphere. It's a familiar place. It doesn't seem abnormal. And so, for instance, when I got with my current husband, now that was abnormal, because now the relationship has changed and it's not traumatizing, it's not toxic. And so for that reason, now I'm the abuser. I'm the mean one, because something needs to be familiar. Something needs to be similar. Something needs to look like it's always looked. And so that's what we usually see with individuals, is that they have had these experiences. And so since they've had these experiences, now they find themselves looking for that same comfort zone. So it's not a codependency, it is a life. It is what they have found themselves to see as normal. And so for that reason, when it's abnormal, it looks weird. And so in my situation with my ex-husband, that was just normal. Every girl on the block was being called to be back at that time. Every girl on the block was being smacked and pushed around by her guy back at that time. So it was a normal thing, and it wasn't abnormal. If you wasn't having it happen, that was abnormal. That was abnormal. And so that's what I talk about with the grooming part, because what he was saying was basically what he had heard others before him saying: if you love me, you don't call the police on me. Because think about this, is back in the 80s, you know, the police was big on locking our men up. They were big on dividing a family. It was just part of the system at that time. And so there was no therapy and counseling or things like that put in place to say, hey, what's going on? Where did you get this idea from? Where did you see these things at? Why do you feel it's okay for you to take this? There was none of these questions. And so those things became normal to us as women to do it. And so now here we are, we're teaching our daughters that this is not normal. And so that's what I was asking you, because no, it's not a codependency. It is, once again, we knew each other since I was 13. And so that means he knew what it was like in my home. He knew what my mom was like. He knew the abuse that I was being. So to come up and make it look like he's giving me something better than what my mother is giving me, he was saving me. You remember it, Captain Save-A-Ho. You know what I'm saying? That is basically what was being demonstrated at those times. And so when you say codependency, I was like, oh no, all the way wrong.
Well, I apologize if it came across and it didn't sound the way I was intended for it to appear. So we all have a filter, and I'm lucky that I made it in life long enough to be able to change mine, so that when I took information in and I filtered it out to what I start to how I regurgitate that, or what my behavior patterns are, that I fixed it so where that even if I'm receiving negativity, I can still give out positive. Does that make sense? So I apologize if it sounded, if me saying codependency was taken in the wrong vein. This is how I meant for it to sound and to say codependent. When I look, I had to learn the English language all over again to have power over it. So the definition of codependency is excessive emotional or psychological reliance on a partner, right? And so what I'm saying to you is, to hear your definition, ma'am, it's actually the poster definition of codependency, because you relied on him to continue being abused, and he needed to rely on you to be an abuser. You see what I'm saying? His penchants for abusing someone, you was the perfect person for him. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all was codependent in that sense, that he relied on you to be somebody that could play the punching bag, and you needed to be that for him, you or somebody. And you just said that now, which when you're in your new relationship, and congratulations to you for finding something successful with someone. Because I know personally, I know how difficult that can be to normalize and have a great relationship with somebody. I'm 48 right now, and I just established that over the last couple of years, and it wasn't easy. But I'm glad that I have her in my life now. My point I'm saying to you is this: the guard me gear for a woman who is being groomed, it actually puts her in a situation where she has a different perspective once that next violent situation happens, whether he rapes her or he just beats up on her. Because of the way the mechanism works, and our company is going to work for you guys, that person's going to jail. I mean, as long as the police in that wherever you are do their job, you know what I'm saying, that person's going to jail. Even if you are in a corner and he has you chained to the wall and is feeding you stuff and water, we still receive the information. We're going to reach out to you. If you don't answer, we forward it to the authorities. You gave us that permission when you bought the device. Does that make sense? So we have all your digital signatures that say we can use as evidence to lock that person up, and we will do so. Once that person is gone, now you have opportunity to breathe in and say, what do I do next? And of course, if we're a personal safety and security wearable company, we will have resources. Even if it's a free hotline, we will have something there to support you. We certify the people that respond initially to you activating the device. We certify them by putting them through a battery of information where they learn about the traumas of being victimized sexually and abused physically, so that when they show up, they are already sympathetic. Police officers, if you call 911, and many people notice this now, when you call 911, the police officers might show up and the house be a mess and both y'all be scratched up and they'll know what to do. So we'll take both y'all, or y'all can just work it out. You can go over to your mom's house. You see what I'm saying? So this is happening, right? And so the bottom line is that now we don't want law enforcement to be the first person to show up unless it's super duper serious. In a lot of situations, it's super duper serious in the fact that it shouldn't happen, but it doesn't rise to the level of it being life threatening. So what we want is individuals who are trained, who are show up to just advocate for your personal safety. Does that make sense? So many people look at a college girl who's dating somebody, freshman. He could be upperclassman or a freshman too, doesn't matter. She go to his dorm room just to hang out, play some cards or something. No big deal. Next thing you know, the other people then went home. You're a little bit drowsy. You didn't know what happened or whatever was going on. Now this person's breathing all on you, kissing all on you. You're saying stop. They won't do it. What do? Luckily, your mom and dad bought you that Guardian Gear device. You go ahead and press that boy. You're saying stop, stop. No, he's like, no, just a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? Then all of a sudden, it's knock at the door. And he's like, just a minute. And the person said, no, get off me, get off this and this and that. Okay, he answers the door. Who's there? It's not the police. Guess who it is? It's a certified responder. Hey, my name is, Taibu Mu'addib. I'm a CR for Guard Me Gear Company. I want to make sure that, Takesha Washington's here. Who's that? She's not in, I don't know anybody named that. Well, sir, her device GPS location is right here in this dorm room. We know that she's here, sir. I'm not here to arrest you or give you a problem. I just need to turn the device off so I can get paid. Bottom line, I help my person and I get compensated for it. Oh, no problem. Oh, yeah, she's right here. So now that individual is bam. It was traumatizing that he attempted it, but now she comes to the door. All the person says is, ma'am, are you safe? No, I don't feel safe. Sir, is it okay if she comes with me? We'll route your hair. Is it okay? Sure, go ahead. He thinks he's not in trouble, but guess what? That second knock on the door is campus security police to go ahead and arrest him for sexual assault because we have it on tape. Bam. And that's what I'm saying. Like, for anybody that's in a situation, whether it's in the moment or if they've been groomed, you have that space, you have that help, you have that response that's necessary to prevent, hopefully to prevent some things. Some things can't be prevented, but a ton of it can be prevented, especially the repeat offenses. And that's what we look to stop. Okay. Where are you calling in from, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm in Dallas. I'm in Texas. Freezing right now, but that is where I'm at.
No, that's cool. Yeah, I'm in Arlington, so yeah, we're here in Texas with you. I'm originally from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I moved here from Wisconsin a couple years ago. And so this weather isn't new to me. It's just, it sucks that it's here. It followed me here to Texas too. You know what I'm saying? Like, shoot. Right. Well, and we'll get that. 3 days of winter a year for a guy that was raised in Wisconsin and born in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania is awesome. You know what I'm saying? It's awesome. It's an irritant. You know what I'm saying? It's not shoveling snow off your car every day and slushy streets and stuff like that. Like, it's. Yeah.
Yeah. I think this is a good idea. I think it's a great product because, especially here in Texas, what we see a lot. I took my daughter to San Antonio to see my brother-in-law, and I have a baby right now. At the time, she was probably about 3 or 4 months, and so San Antonio is 4 hours from us. And so I dropped my daughter off. We stayed for a little bit, and we got back in the car to come home. And it was interesting because I'm on the highway, and I had to get out because she would not stop crying. So I needed to adjust her seat and figure out a way to make her happy because this was a long ride to hear her just screaming and hollering. And I carry my pow with me, pew, whatever they call it on TikTok. I carry that with me, and I'm very good at using it. My husband is ex-military, and so he believes in his rights to carry and to serve however he needs to. So it was, something that we had to learn. And I have all girls and one boy. And so it was something that he just felt like the girls needed to know. And so I have it with me, and this guy, I get out the car, I walk around to the baby's side, and I'm from Chicago, like I said, and so I'm watching, and I noticed that his tint on his windows are dark.
Right.
They are not legal dark. They are way past that. They are dark. I can't see in there even when he opens up the car door.
It's called mirror tint.
And he's really, really close to the pump, so he's not pumping out any gas. So what is he doing here? So I hurry up and stick my arm in the front to my golf department And I just pulled my gun out. I mean, my pow out. Gotta watch what you say. And I'm sitting there, not knowing that he's getting ready to do just what he did. He came to the car and he was like, "Hey, what's wrong? Are you okay?" And now I'm on the phone with my husband. First off, I am a Muslim. At nighttime, we do not travel. I should have stayed at my brother's home. But baby does not do well at other people's houses, so she would have just been a bother, and it was dark. So I'm on the phone with him, and he said, "Who is that?" And I tell him it's some guy. He said, "Put me on speaker," and he tells the guy like, "Hey, get away from the door. She's fine." And so I said, "Well, I'm just gonna walk around and get into the back of the car with her." I locked the door because, of course, I take my keys out and I lock the door. And I get in on the other side. I lock the door. I get in on the side. He's right there. I said, "Babe, you know what? At this point, if I have to show you, I'm going to have to use it. I need you to really move." And I noticed there's another guy on the other side. And so there's nobody here to help me. There's no one here to help me. So I clock back. And as I clock back, I guess they realized, okay, she's serious. And so they left. But, they're taking these children out here left and right. They wasn't worried about me. They were all about that baby. They wanted to know, was that baby a girl or a boy? What the baby looked like. They were over my shoulder in the car. So to imagine if I had something like that I could have pressed and somebody could have been there and been right up there, to know that I got that little bit of extra security, it does feel good, to know that would exist for somebody to use. Although I do have my friend that I don't go nowhere without. Just imagine to know if I have my big brothers with me.
And no one wants to be in jail for having to use a pow. You know what I'm saying? Trying to find out. I mean, you got to think about it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not a Hollywood movie where the good guy is easily identifiable to law enforcement. Law enforcement shows up, somebody's laying out there dead. You know what I'm saying? They're winding cameras and stuff like that, and now they're asking you questions. Did you give that person a warning? If he survives and says you didn't, he was just trying to help out. What do? You know what I'm saying? You stuck in a situation. Also, you have to look at the MGRT. The minimum guaranteed response time is the prime feature of the Guard Me Gear security wearable, and that's because you always kind of know where your help is at. So if you had to stop at a gas station, you wouldn't have stopped at one until there was somebody that was within a good response time. Does that make sense? So your Guard Me Gear app is definitely going to show up. Okay, if I need help and I stop at this bar, this restaurant, to use the bathroom, whatever the case may be, when I press this, help is going to come sooner than later, right? Because you will be in some remote areas and wonder if it's safe. Another component of our Guard Me Gear device, once it's been out there collecting data long enough, you'll see the safe spots, the safer spots where there haven't been any, because police compile calls to their location, right? So you'll know which bars, restaurants, and hotels had 911 calls the most or not. You see what I'm saying? So it's gonna be a really huge deal, like I said, for how we socialize with each other, for people that are really cognizant and conscientious on how to use these devices. And we will make sure you guys know how to use them to the best of your ability. But we all are creatures of habit, right? So if you fell into the habit of feeling comfortable and secure because you had that pow with you, now you're overpowered, you're outmanned, you might possibly be outgunned, and then come to find out you don't really want to hurt anybody. You see what I'm saying? So now you're in a tough situation. They're not afraid of the pow you had because they had their own pows. They, like I said, they want that baby, not you. You're expendable. You see what I'm saying? So you definitely need some assistance, right? Bottom line. And I'm glad that you brought that kind of scenario up, because the Guard Me Gear device means giving everyone a response. So the situation is, if you had to discharge your pow, by depressing the Guard Me Gear device, whether help came first or not, if he pulled out his, you pulled out yours, and you used it, now you're not worried about what the police questioning you about what you did and couldn't do and how afraid you were and what option. You know what I'm saying? They can't turn you into a perpetrator of a serious crime. Does that make sense? You can just keep your mouth shut, ask for an attorney, because you know that we've collected enough evidence to make sure that you are exonerated immediately. That sounded so I'm telling you this right here. But I'll make sure that in the description I'll post yes we can after this episode. You can go on there, click on the link, donate, take the survey, man, do your part, share it. This is important. And like I said, this is January. We can get this done, man. Halfway through this year, we should be well over the goal if people are serious about getting this thing out there. And I'll be able to continue with my team to get this thing manufactured, tested, and developed and get out there as soon as possible. I myself have a daughter. I love her to death. I only have one girl. She's going back. She's moving back into college this week coming up, right? So she'll be back University of Wisconsin at Milwaukee. So she'll be in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, which is close to your hometown, Chicago, obviously. And so she'll be a student there. And I'm comfortable. I'm like, she shares her location with me on her iPhone, but these devices outside the guard me gear, they're just so easily discarded by someone that means somebody harm. You know what I'm saying? A phone, a purse, they can get rid of stuff like that and do what they want to do. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to be so with the guard me gear security wearable. That's just the bottom line. So I want to make sure I get this out there for her because, I'm always concerned about her. I'm always concerned about her whereabouts, her well-being. I've had dickens of a time getting her to just text me and say, hey, I'm at home safe. I'm not going to respond. It's not going to be a conversation. You don't got to tell me where you're safe at. You know what I'm saying? Just let me know because I'm talking about it. It's so crazy out here these days. People coming up missing. No one has any answers for it. The guard me gear is going to affect all of that. Seriously, all the Amber Alerts. I'm not saying it's not a good thing. It's definitely helping us out now. It's helping law enforcement now, whatever. But that incessant buzz that you get that's only served to traumatize the whole community. We know a child's been snatched. We're going to get rid of that too, right? We're going to make sure that child can't go nowhere without what? Somebody having a response for that. Does that make sense?
Okay.
I'm glad you joined me today, man. And like I said, you obviously I can follow you. I can make sure that you know what I'm saying. We get in touch. I can inbox you. I have your information here. I put it over here on my real stream. If you subscribe to my YouTube channel, Taibu Mu'addib 4019, you can always have updates on how things are going. But I really appreciate you. And again, I congratulate you for finding something healthy, something safe. That's a really big deal.
Can you put the YouTube in the comments so that I can write it down?
Oh yeah, for sure. And generally, it might go off for a second. Let me go ahead and see if I can't find that real quick. Usually, I have it pulled up already. Let me go ahead and get to my Reel of Man real quick. Usually, I have it already pulled up, but I'm trying to get my 1,000 followers over there on YouTube so I can really offer folks a whole lot more show. When I get my YouTube thing together, boy, I'll be able to really give it to y'all. But for right now, the TikTok live subscriber only, everybody that gets their live only subscription over here on TikTok, I definitely am going to be doing some working out, giving you some free health tips, and going crazy with that right there. What is that reply? Bam. I was trying to pin it up there. So it's Taibu Mu'addib 4019 over there on YouTube, man. We're gonna follow this movement. Dakar. That's how you say your name? Yes, Dakar, man. So you just basically heard me having a conversation with someone who's a survivor of violence in the home as a young person and in a marriage. And I'm telling you right now, the most important thing about these kind of conversations is they're finally happening. They're finally happening. So when I say this is the Yes We Can episode, Dakar, yes, we can put an end to it for ourselves, for members of our community and our family. Let's all donate to the Guard Me Gear. $1, $2, whatever you guys put in, by numbers in mass, we can get to this 150,000 goal. So I can actually take this thing out here and get this thing done for you guys. I am in Arlington, Texas, everybody. So I'm telling you right now, if you want to be on a show individually, talk about your experience, unload it before you donate or whatever. We want to hear the stories to keep this movement and this momentum going.
I have absolutely no problem with supporting and helping anything that is going to benefit us as people. Because we need protection. Never before. I was on yesterday, and it's just a lot going on in this world. We got individuals that are assaulted in bathrooms and malls, and people are like, it's a mall. How is that happening? That's a good question. How is that happening? Because it is a mall where people are constantly going in and out. But I do know from my own experience that people will see things and they will go into things and they will ignore it because it's not their business. Hey, baby.
Time.
It's not their business. And so since it's not their business, they walk away from it. They ignore it because they have nothing to do with them. And they don't know. Maybe this person asked for it. Maybe that's, part of their little fantasy thing. And people walk away from things that are not needed to be walked away from. I'm screaming, help me, and yet you're like, oh, that's not my business. I'll go outside and tell somebody. It's a woman in there screaming, asking for help. It's a man in there screaming, asking for help. Why didn't you do anything about that? Why didn't you try to intervene at that time? So I think this is a good idea.
Well, those are really, really good questions. If you don't have time right now, if you want to come on my show sometime over here to my main platform, I would love to answer those questions. I think, in short, I think that people should be wary of certain scams and schemes. It's hard to know in real time what's real and what isn't. If my car is down on the side of the road and I stop to help and that person just wants to rob me, what's the deal? If I get involved in something, whatever, whatnot, one of them people have a disease of some kind that I can't get rid of, and it's already blood already out in the open, I'm not, gloved up or masked up. It's a whole lot of stuff in real time that goes into these type of things. Also, the reason that we certify our responders is because people need training to handle certain situations like that. That's the bottom line. If me personally, I'm CPR certified. If someone's choking in front of me or convulsing or goes into a seizure, I know how to help them. A person that isn't trained, you see what I'm saying, Dakar? They're gonna freak out. They're gonna walk up. It's tough to get involved. You might do more damage by getting involved than helping a lot of times. And then we all know the person that tries to help somebody in domestic violence situations and ends up right back with that person. So I put myself in danger and in jeopardy by trying to help, and that person, I'm saying, I feel like a fool. So it's definitely a lot of stuff going on to the point where, on the outside looking in, how could that happen? But in reality, the way things are going these days, it can happen very, very easily. I would love to have you on the main show and your husband on there too. Me and my girlfriend, we have a couples page now. We're doing couples therapy. Stuff like this needs to be talked about, because one person might need a little more help than the other person, and that relationship can still work. Does that make sense? So yeah, definitely. I'm following your page now. You have a great number of followers, so I'm definitely going to be checking your stuff out now, trying to steal a few of them. No, I'm just kidding. Oh, well, shoot, get it out there then. Look, let's get this money up. That's the number that would make sure I can take care of. It's on the GoFundMe page, the manufacturer and the prototype, and making sure it gets done right the first time. We already have the rollout. We know how we're gonna do it. It's just getting that thing on paper and then having the device in our hands, putting it out there, testing it, redesign it so it actually works. Get the kinks out, man. Make sure that people get, I'm telling you right now, this thing, 2024, this is when it's supposed to happen. Everybody be more in 24. Yes, we can. This is a big deal. And I'm telling you, this is God oriented. I'm telling you, I'm late getting on my show because I had to get the GoFundMe up. Then I jump on here, you know what I'm saying? And my girlfriend came on earlier because the Cowboys lost. And so we had to talk about the Cowboys losing. The Steelers lost. We had to talk about the Steelers losing. You know what I'm saying? So we was having fun. So really, in truth, I was supposed to have did my show 8:05 and been done by now. The last few times I've gone live, it's brought in people, Mr. Derek Colors. It's brought in a lot of people, Chasky in them. It's brought in people that have really been divinely oriented for us to meet at this time right now to get this thing done. Right? Deanna, Nice, Chasky, they all have much huger followings than I have on this platform and probably other places too. But it needed for that to be the seed that was planted. Amen. So that's how it's going. So I appreciate me. You're a therapist right now. The help is here. The Guard Me Gear device is going to give life back to many victims who are afraid to go outside now because they know they have protection. They know they have a response. People who are afraid to date and to live and to be free, to go jogging. The Guard Me Gear is going to give that back to them because now they have protection. Hands up, mic drop. Let's go. I'm telling you, we're gonna do this thing. We're gonna wiggle our way through this thing. I'm look, and as a story of redemption and atonement, knowing I take it seriously. You don't know this, but my 13-year-old's mom, I injured her very seriously in a domestic violence dispute. I didn't start it. I took it to trial because I felt like I had the right to defend myself. But at the end of the day, she still ended up, permanently maimed and scarred from the situation, right? And so to be able to stop that for anybody else, to be able to say, hey, look, we can take this pain and make something powerful out of that. We can create a different legacy for other couples to not have to go through that stuff. Is very, very important to me. So that's the serious side of my passion to get this thing going, which is why I haven't stopped since 2016, developing it, bringing it to light, crossing T's and dotting I's to get this close to having it, to know that this year, if we work together, you and I and other people band together, and we can get this funding up, to know that this year that women and children across the country can have the kind of response, the kind of coverage and protection that they deserve, always deserve, is immense. It's huge. That's the serious side of what I do.
Like I said, I like anything that's going to help build.
So what I'll do, let me go ahead real quick and get this done. All right, so Taibu to Rise, that's my Instagram page. I'm gonna put this stuff in the comment section. Just the more direct ways to get the links for folks out there that don't know. Let me go ahead and put that in there real quick. It's real simple. My Gmail address I made. Again, like I said, as a PCS certified goal achievement coach, I'm telling you right now, I'm kind of in the same thing that you're in. It's just I'm more of like a growth strategy kind of guy. And not so much the healing and help that you give. That makes sense?
I know exactly what you do. My brother is on here. I'm trying to build his account. He served 15 years for murder, and now he's, prior to him going in, he has a story on his own. And, prior to him going in, he was one type of man. He came out and he, nothing really as far as his self changed, time changed, and those are the things that we have to work on. But he talks a lot about his attitude, what got him where he was, and why it was just the first response was to react. And so you all together would be a power team, because a lot of people don't know what it's like to sit behind those walls and try to get rehabilitated, but not really getting rehabilitated, and you're rehabilitating yourself mentally on your own, and reading and learning and saying what I'm not going to do and what I am going to do and who I'm going to become and who I'm not going to become. So it takes a lot. And so I think listening to some of the things you all say, I have a son right now. And my son could benefit from talking to you and his uncle, but he would never talk to you and his uncle because you all are not the negative. He wants to hear more about the struggle of a person, and he wants to hear more about where you at mentally struggling, because that's where he's at right now. In his mind, it's all a struggle. It's all so confusing. He hasn't understand that it's a processing period where he's processing the information to figure out if he needs to go this way or go that way. And until he involves himself with other information, he's going to be stuck in that one spot. And so young men right now could benefit from speaking with you all because of where you all have been and what you all are going through and what you all are trying to do right now. It's a benefit, but we, how do we reach them? How do we get them to hear you all, we're the moms and the dads had to say, hey, we finna go listen to this brother today. We finna go sit down and listen to this person, whether they want to or not. This is what we need to start doing, is exposing our children to a more positive version of the negative person that we once knew. And so I'm excited. I'm excited about this. I can go on and on and on because, like I said, this is my feel, this is my love, this is my baby, and so I could continue. But I have to get ready. I homeschool my daughter, so I have to get ready to start her day. But yes, I will follow, and then I will go on and look up some of the other things that you were talking about, and I'm excited.
Yeah, no, I mean, I have my email address on there. If you shoot me an email, it's just for coachtaibu@gmail.com. If you go to that email and send me an email directly about the things that you are interested and excited about for your son, it would be effort, focus, and commitment. I'll send you the free downloads, my number one publication, thousands of downloads, man, since I put it up. It's the identifier. It would give them a fresh perspective. It's something that you guys can actually do together. You know what I'm saying? You can walk through it together, and that would be a huge deal for you getting to the bottom of what his goal is in life or what he actually is struggling with. It'd be a great identifying tool. I love to meet the young man and bring him on my show. I've had young people come on my show before and do music and do rap or just talk about their situations. I've been a podcast for 2.
He's in the military right now.
Oh, he can definitely get online then. Shoot, he can definitely get online. Come on the show.
He can get online right now because he's in boot camp.
Oh.
And he just called home last night to tell us he got recycled, meaning he's done something stupid, he's done something bad, and so now he's in recycling, and he's going to have to start over from day one. So that's what I mean when I say he's struggling, and that was my last result, because this isn't my second husband's son. This is my first husband's son, who also spent years in jail as well. And so it's just a cycle. It's just a recycling. And so if he was to spend time with those people who had once been there and learned something, then imagine where he would be at now, because he's listening to Young Gotti, I think. I don't know who these rappers are now. He's listening to them, and they don't know nothing. They haven't been anywhere. They haven't done anything. Story.
Yeah, I have a saying for young people, man. I tell them, I say, look, you can teach an old dog new tricks, but you can't teach a new dog old ones. For some reason, they ain't trying to listen to nothing. But what I will say is, for your son, a quick recommendation for you as the parent is just give them your expectations. You carry them in your womb. You know them better than anybody. Just give them your expectations. Just tell them, this is what I have seen, and this is I'm parenting. I was just telling somebody else this. I'm parenting 4 kids by 4 different women from outside the home. I always have. I just stopped being a jailbird like 6 years ago, right? So, but what I tell them now, that I'm giving them a powerful dad now, right? A present dad now, as much as I can be a providing dad now. I say, I reserve the right to have expectations of you. And it seems to be working. You know, with my daughter, at least anyway, I had more communication and time with her. When I was raising her, it was just me and her through her high school years. But still, the rest of them is still resonating. You know, I'm letting them know what's going on, Casa. I'm letting them know you can let your son know as his mother, one husband or your next, real dad or stepdad. Just tell him that you have expectations of him, and to stop pointing the finger. Tell him to own it, point the thumb, and don't be afraid of the process. It goes for him to look in the mirror every day and change himself. Tell him if he changes himself, he'll change his outcomes. He has more control than he's given himself credit for. And last but not least, tell him to develop an obedient heart. The Bible is on his phone. They'll give him a Bible there. Tell him to develop an obedient heart. Without being obedient in his heart, without being able to follow directions and do things like in order and decency and order, he's not going to be successful. And your expectation should be for him to be successful. So link those two together. Amen.
I do that. I appreciate you, brother. It's been nice. I gotta go.
Okay.
And I'll look up the rest of the stuff.
All right. We're gonna sign off with Mr. Dakar, man. Taibu Mu'addib right here. The morning show went long, but it was necessary. The guard meat gear GoFundMe page is up. Please, please, please make sure that you donate and that you take the survey attached with it. We just need all the information we can. We want to get to that 150,000 goal as soon as we possibly can and get this thing out there for the people that need it most. That might be you. Taibu Mu'addib, all I do is motivate. When you're involved with me, hashtag all I do is motivate. When you're working out, when you're getting better, you're getting in shape, when you're budgeting, stay motivated, stay committed. If you need the EFC workbook or you need your one-on-one coaching session, go to calendly.com/Coach Taibu for your free complimentary talk with yours truly. I want to be your coach. I can help you today. Effort, focus, and commitment. Let's go. That's the show. Man. Booyah. All right. So for today, you are what you eat. I always give something extra to my people that, rock with me and subscribe to my YouTube channel. As I move towards subscriber-only videos and real content, getting that together. I want you guys, and I'm always going to have something special for you. So definitely, you are what you eat. All right, so practice eating right things. Cut down on the alcohol and other barbiturates, taking just whatever to make yourself feel better or numb you up. Eat good stuff. Eat them proteins. Get what you need out. The fruits and vegetables. Get that stuff in, man. Make sure you guys have a healthy diet. A healthy diet is very, very important. All right. Get your high C boost up. Let's go. Taibu Mu'addib. You are what you eat today. I'm out.